I used to think that the greatest punishment in life was to be forgotten by my own family. It wasn't until that night that I realized the true punishment is when the entire kingdom wants you dead. Kneel. Elara Vane. My father's voice was as cold as frost on a winter night. I knelt in the center of the Vane family hall, my hands bound by rough iron chains, my knees pressed against the cold stone floor. The room was filled with family elders. Their gazes held not a trace of affection, only loathing and fear. Do you know why you were recalled? I looked up at Lycan Vane, who was seated at the head of the table. The man who once held me close and told me I was the family's hope now treats me like a stranger. Because you need someone to take the blame. My voice was very soft, yet it made the hall fall silent for a moment. My father's brow furrowed slightly. You're becoming more and more like your mother. When I heard that name, my heart clenched tightly. My mother, the woman who died when I was young and whom everyone called the girl of calamity. Her blood has tainted you, said an elder, rising to his feet, his voice sharp. Your birth caused the moon goddess's protection to depart from the Vane clan. You have brought famine upon our lands and stripped our wolf pack of its glory. I looked down at my hands. Over the years, they've kept telling me that I'm a bringer of bad luck. So I learned to keep quiet, learn to be patient, learn not to expect love from anyone. But today, they've finally stopped hiding. So, what are you going to do with me? The flames burning in the hall flickered slightly. My father was silent for a moment. Then he said, "Tonight, I'll take you to the north." My heart sank suddenly. The north. The place that countless werewolves call the land of death. That place belongs to the most powerful alpha king Kale Draven. Rumor has it that he possesses the purest obsidian wolf blood and once single-handedly slew dozens of Nemi alphas who had invaded the kingdom. Rumor has it that his hands are stained with blood. Rumor has it that no woman has ever been allowed near his throne. Are you going to hand me over to him? I finally understand. They aren't here to judge me. They are sacrificing me. The elder gave a cold laugh. Alpha King needs a political marriage partner. And you, a worthless outcast, are just the right fit. At that moment, I actually smiled. It has no value. I've been hearing that for my whole life. I don't have a powerful wolf spirit, a distinguished family, or a beautiful pedigree certificate. In their eyes, I'm just something they can discard at any time. But they don't know that. The secret hidden within me is what they truly fear. Before she died, my mother told me, "Never let anyone know about your blood. Because within my blood lies the ancient bloodline of the moon wolf, which has been dormant for hundreds of years." That wasn't a blessing. It was a key that could unlock the gates of the kingdom and destroy the entire kingdom. So I've been hiding all this time. Until tonight. I was escorted out of the castle by my family's soldiers. There was no goodbye. No blessings. Not a single person even turned to look at me. As I sat in the rickety wagon, listening to the wind rustling through the trees, I felt for the first time as if I were truly dead. But fate wouldn't let me off the hook. Late at night, the carriage suddenly came to a stop. The low growls of a pack of wolves could be heard from outside. Enemy attack. The soldier's panicked voice rang out. The next moment, an arrow sliced through the air. The smell of blood filled the air in an instant. I pulled back the car curtain and saw several figures emerge from the dark forest. They aren't ordinary bandits. They exude the aura of werewolf warriors. Someone is hunting down a certain person. Amid chaos, I heard a loud thud. Not far away, a man lay on the snow. He was clad in black battle armor. A blade had pierced his shoulder, and blood stained the white snow red. Even though he was seriously injured, he still exuded a terrifying aura. All the werewolves near him instinctively stepped back. I don't know why, but my body moved before I could. As I approached him, a strange and intense scent hit me, like a cold night sky, like a raging fire. My heartbeat suddenly went haywire. The man slowly opened his eyes. Those eyes were a deep silver gray. He looked at me, and a fleeting look of shock flashed across his otherwise cold eyes. "Who are you?" His voice was deep and hoarse. I knelt in the snow and pressed my hand against his wound. "Someone nobody wants. For some reason." The look in his eyes changed when he heard those words. It was as if the most powerful alpha king in the world were hearing such a description of himself for the very first time. "Stay away from me," he said, but his body didn't push me away. "You're going to die," I replied in a low voice. He stared at me. In that moment, I felt something stirring between us. My blood began to boil. His breathing also became rapid. The next moment, an ancient wolf spirit's aura erupted between us. I don't know what that means, but he knew, because this man suddenly grabbed my wrist. For the first time, his voice lost its composure. "Tell me, who are your parents?" I froze. Why would a dying stranger suddenly ask that? I wanted to break free from his grip, but the way he looked at me left me frozen in place. That wasn't the look a stranger would give. It was as if he were confirming a treasure that had been lost and then found again. In the distance, the pursuers were closing in once more, but this severely injured man used his last ounce of strength to stand up and shield me with his body. "They can't take you away." I watched his back. "Why?" He was silent for a long time. Then he whispered a sentence. It caused me a great deal of pain for a long time afterward, because from the moment you appeared, "You're my mate." My breath caught in my throat. Mate. Soulmate. The only place where a werewolf's soul belongs in its lifetime. But what I didn't know was that this man had another identity. He's no ordinary werewolf. He is the king of the entire northern kingdom. He is also the Alpha King whom, according to everyone's prophecies, I am destined to destroy. And on the day he brings me back to the royal capital, all the nobles will know. That girl, who had been cast out by her family, had actually become a candidate to be their most honored queen. What's even more terrifying is, someone has already recognized my blood. The secret that has been hidden for hundreds of years is awakening. I used to think that the day I became queen would be filled with flowers, good wishes, and glory, but when I stood before the gates of Draven's royal city, all I could hear was whispering. Is that her? That outcast daughter of the Vane family? What gives her the right to stand next to the Alpha King? Those sounds were like tiny blades, piercing my ears bit by bit. I kept my head down and didn't respond, because I know they're right. In their eyes, I was just a girl from a family that had fallen on hard times, a woman with no powerful wolf spirit, no noble backing, and who isn't even wanted by her own family. But they don't know that. Just last night, the man I saved turned out to be the one person in the entire north who is off limits. Kael Draven, Alpha King, the most powerful ruler of the werewolf kingdom. He is also the most incredible man in everyone's eyes right now, because he actually brought a strange woman back to the royal capital. What shocked all the nobles even more was, he announced that I would become his fiancée. To be precise, she is the queen of contracts. In the palace hall, I saw for the first time the world that truly belonged to Kael. Towering stone pillars, burning braziers, and ancient wolf clan crests hanging on the walls. All the nobles stood on either side. They wore magnificent silk robes and were adorned with jewels symbolizing their family's glory. As for me, I was wearing nothing but the old dress the Vane family had given me. At that moment, I felt it clearly. I don't fit in here. Tell them. Kael sat on the throne, his voice cold and detached. I looked up at him. The dying man from last night has disappeared. Now, he is the Alpha King, seated on the throne. A black robe enveloped his muscular frame, and his silver-gray eyes held no warmth. It was as if the person who had stood in front of me last night to protect me was just a figment of my imagination. What should I tell them? I asked in a low voice. Kael looked at me. Tell them our marriage is a contract. My heart sank a little. Just as I thought. All he needed was an identity. A queen who can silence the nobility. What does the contract say? I asked. Everyone in the hall fell silent. Kael stood up. His figure was so imposing that it was impossible to overlook him. You will be my queen. Stand by my side when the kingdom needs you. Until all threats are gone. I looked at him. Then what? His gaze lingered on my face. For a split second, I thought he was going to say something different. But in the end, he simply replied coldly, once the contract ends, You can leave. I don't know why. That sentence made my chest ache a little. This is exactly what I should want. Freedom. Leaving a place that never loved me. But when he said it out loud, I felt as if I'd been abandoned all over again. I understand, I said softly. Cale's brow furrowed ever so slightly. It seems like you don't like my answer. Just then, an elderly nobleman stepped forward. He exuded a powerful alpha aura. Your Majesty. Lord Theron Vale bowed his head in a gesture of respect. But his gaze fell on me, full of scrutiny. Are you really sure you want a woman from the Vane family to be the future queen? The hall fell silent in an instant. I clenched my fingers. It's finally here. Everyone's doubts. A disgrace to everyone. Her lineage isn't pure. Theron continued. She hasn't even awakened her own wolf spirit. The crowd began to murmur. I lowered my eyes. I've heard these words countless times. But the next sentence made me feel a sense of danger for the first time. Not to mention. Theron paused for a moment. Rumor has it that the Vane family once hid a descendant of the Moonblood. My body froze instantly. Descendants of the Moonblood. That name hasn't been mentioned in many years. Rarest. My mother warned me before she died. No one must find out. Cale's gaze suddenly fell on me. At that moment, I felt as if he had seen right through me. Rumors are just rumors, he said. The voice was so cold that it silenced the entire hall. Theron smiled. I hope so. Otherwise, Your Majesty would not have chosen her as queen, but rather the one who destroys the kingdom. The air in the hall seemed to stand still. I don't know why. Everyone's fears are focused on me. But what unsettled me the most was Cale's reaction. Because he wasn't angry. No denial. He just looked at me. It was as if he were confirming something. That night, I entered the Queen's chambers for the first time. After the maid left, I stood alone by the window. I thought I was finally safe. But the very next moment, the door swung open. Cale walked in. Why didn't you tell me? His voice was deep. I turned around. Tell you what? He approached step by step. A powerful alpha aura instantly bore down on him. My body instinctively wanted to step back. But he stopped. Just a step away from me. Your blood. My heart skipped a beat. I don't know what you're talking about. He stared at me. For the first time. A complex mix of emotions flashed across his silver-gray eyes. Anger. Doubt. There's also a kind of pain I don't understand. Elara. It was the first time he called my name. His voice was so low it sounded as if he were suppressing some kind of uncontrollable emotion. Who are you? Anyway, I didn't answer. Because it's right at this moment. Suddenly, the howls of a pack of wolves could be heard outside the window. Immediately afterward, a black arrow flew through the window. It shot straight at me. Cale instantly stepped in front of me. The arrow grazed his shoulder. The black poison spread rapidly. I grabbed him in a panic. You're hurt. But he didn't look at his wound. Instead, he stared intently at the darkness outside the window. Because an ancient symbol was engraved on that arrow. A mark known only to the royal family and the Moonblood clan. For the first time, Cale's expression changed. They found you. I froze. Who? He replied in a low voice. The people who want you dead. The next moment, he clasped my hand. It was as if he had finally made some dangerous decision. From now on, you can't leave my side. I looked at him. Why? He was silent for a long time. Then he said something I'll never forget. Because I suspect. You're not the girl who was abandoned by her family. You may be the last descendant of the royal bloodline that has been missing from this kingdom for 100 years. I never imagined that one day, my name would be linked to the throne. I never imagined that those who once called me a disaster would start to fear my very existence. But when Cale said those words, my world was completely turned upside down. The king's blood. Finally. I looked at him and couldn't help but chuckle. It's not because I find it funny, but because it's absurd. Your Majesty. It was the first time I'd called him that. Did you get the wrong person? Cale stood in front of me. The wound on his shoulder still bleeding. Black venom spread across his skin. Yet his gaze never strayed from me. I didn't. He said. You know better than anyone that you're not just an ordinary girl from the Wayne family. My fingers trembled slightly. Because he was right. Of course I know. Ever since I was born. I've known that I'm different from others. I can hear the low howls of a pack of wolves in the moonlight. I can sense the emotions of every wolf spirit in the forest. Even when I'm angry or afraid. My blood runs hot. But I've kept these secrets hidden for 18 years. If I really am this royal blood you're talking about. I stared at him. Why did my family abandon me? Kale was silent. This was the first time I'd ever seen this man at a loss for words. He's used to being in control of everything. He was used to everyone bowing their heads in his presence. But when it came to my past, he couldn't provide any answers. Because some people are afraid of you, he said. Scared. I smiled. Afraid of a woman who can't even awaken her wolf spirit. Kale furrowed his brow. Who told you that you don't have the spirit of a wolf? That statement left me speechless. Everyone. They're wrong. His voice was firm. Your wolf spirit hasn't awakened yet. But I'm waiting. I looked at him. What are you waiting for? Kale walked over. When his breath drew near, my body reacted instinctively. That strange attraction surfaced once again. As my soul knows him. It was as if my blood was responding to him. I hate this feeling. Because I'm not used to depending on anyone. I'm even less used to a man easily affecting my mood. Waiting for the 1W. Who can truly awaken it? He said. My heart skipped a beat. You? I asked. Kale didn't answer. But his silence spoke volumes. Early the next morning, word of an incident had spread throughout the royal city. Alpha King's contract queen will face a noble tribunal. The reason is simple. They think I'm not good enough. I was standing in the center of the royal palace's council chamber. Both sides were filled with nobles. The way they okayed at me was even more hostile than yesterday. Your Majesty. Theron Vale stood up. The queen's status affects the entire kingdom. If she truly possesses the power of the Moonblood clan, we must confirm it. Kale sat on the throne. His expression was cold. Confirm what? Theron looked down. Find out if she will destroy the kingdom. The lobby was quiet. I felt countless eyes on me. Once upon a time, I was just an unremarkable girl in the Wayne family. Now, however, I have become the object of everyone's desire and fear. Fate is truly cruel. It never asks if you're ready. Test her wolf spirit. An elder said. If she cannot summon the spirit of the wolf, it proves she is unworthy of being queen. I clenched my fist. They want me to prove my worth once again. Just like in the past. But this time, I won't back down. Okay. I spoke up. Everyone looked at me. I accept. Kale suddenly looked at me. A hint of disapproval flashed in his eyes. As if trying to stop it. I looked at him. Whisper. If I don't even have the courage to face my own past, what right do I have to stand by your side? Those words calmed him down. The test has begun. The ancient moonstone was placed in the center of the hall. Legend has it that only those with a pure wolf spirit can make it glow. One after another. The noble youths gave it a try. The moonstone glowed faintly. When it was my turn, silence fell over the entire hall. I reached out my hand, touched the moonstone. A cold sensation spread through the palm of my hand. There was no reaction at all. 1 second, 2 seconds, 10 seco. NDS. Everyone began to smile sarcastically. Just as I thought. She's just an ordinary woman. Your Majesty is mistaken. My chest feels tight. But I didn't pull my hand back. Because I know. I can't run away anymore. Just as everyone was about to announce the results. Suddenly, the entire hall shook. The terrified howls of a pack of wolves could be heard outside the palace. The moonstone began to crack. A silver beam of light burst from the palm of my hand. All the flames went out instantly. The next moment, a huge, silvery white wolf appeared behind me. All werewolves. Kneel. Including those nobles who were just mocking me. Because that wasn't just any wolf spirit. That was the legendary witch had disappeared hundreds of years ago. Lunar God Royal Clan. Wolf Soul. The hall fell deathly silent. I was taken aback. 2. Because I never knew. I never imagined that such power lay dormant within me, but the people who were most shocked weren't the nobles. It was Kale. Because he stood up. Look at the wolf spirit behind me, pale-faced. It was as if I had come face to face with an unacceptable trut. No way. He muttered under his breath. I looked at him. What's wrong? He didn't answer. It wasn't until much later. He had just said something that made my heart stop. The prophecy is true. My breath caught in my throat. What prophecy? Kale looked at me. Fear appeared in his eyes for the first time. The day the daughter of the moon's blood appears. The Draven dynasty is headed for destruction. The entire hall erupted in excitement. And I finally understood. Why did my family abandon me? Why is everyone afraid of my blood? Because they never thought I was worthless. They've known all along. I possess the power to change the fate of the entire kingdom. Just then, Theron suddenly drew his long sword. Point at me. Kill her, he said. Otherwise, she'll destroy our kingdom. All the guards drew their swords. I was standing in the middle of the hall. The first time I had power. Yet for the first time, I felt so lonely. Because the next second, I heard Kale's cold voice. Echoed throughout the palace. Who dares to lay a hand on her? Everyone. Stop. Kale stepped down from the throne. Stand in front of me. But his next words left me completely frozen. Starting today, she is my queen. He's also someone I must keep a close eye on myself. I watched his back. For the first time, a doubt crossed my mind. He really was protecting me. Are you still holding me captive? And just when no one knew, in the palace dungeon, an elderly man who had been imprisoned for many years opened his eyes. When he heard my name, he smiled. The Moonblood Princess is back. The one who can truly kill the Alpha King. It's finally here. I used to think that having power would set me free. But it wasn't until that moment that I realized it. Power is sometimes just another form of bondage. The day after the Moonblood wolf spirit awoke, I was left behind in the depths of the palace. Not as the queen's residence. It was like a dangerous secret that had been kept under wraps. The number of guards has doubled. Alpha warriors stand guard outside my door at all times. I even have to get Kale's permission just to go to the garden. So this is your protection. I stood in the study, looking at the man in front of me. You sent someone to watch me. Kale looked down at the scroll in his hands and didn't answer right away. He was wearing a black royal battle robe with a silver crest on his shoulder. He always seems so calm, so powerful. It was as if nothing could shake him. But I know. Last night, the moment the moonstone cracked, he was afraid. It's not surveillance, he said. It's to keep people from hurting you. I chuckled. Or to keep me from hurting others. His finger paused for a moment. The brief silence spoke volumes. It felt as if something had pricked my heart. You believe in that prophecy? Too, I said softly. Kale looked up. I believe in the facts. What facts? The fact is, your power could change the entire kingdom. I looked at him. So what? So I have to make sure I can get the situation under control before it gets out of hand. Control. That word again. Everyone wants to control my destiny. My family. Aristocrat. Now even he is. If one day you find out, I really will destroy your kingdom. I asked. Are you going to kill me? The room fell silent. Kale looked at me. His expression was so complex that I couldn't make sense of it. After a long pause, he replied. If that day ever comes, I'll stop you. It's not I'll kill you. But it's not exactly I trust you. I lowered my head. For some reason, this answer made me feel even sadder. In the days that followed, the entire kingdom was thrown into chaos. My arrival disrupted the delicate balance that had existed among the nobility. Supporters of Kale believe that the return of the Moonblood royal family signifies the kingdom's restoration of its ancient protection. Opponents, however, believe that I am the disaster foretold in the prophecy. Every day, new rumors reached the palace. Some people say I'm a witch. Some people say I'm a monster. Some even say that Kale has been bewitched by my bloodline and has lost the sound judgment expected of an Alpha King. But what I find most unacceptable is, those who had once abandoned me began to come to the palace of their own accord. My father, Lucian Vane, was one of them. The day I saw him, I was standing in the lobby. He looked much older than he did before he left, but his gaze remained cold. Elara. He called my name. It's as if none of those things ever happened between us. I looked at him. What are you doing here? He sighed. I am your father. That made me laugh. Dad. A father who sends his daughter to the north to die. The air in the hall froze instantly. Lucian's expression changed slightly. You don't understand how things were back then. Then tell me. I stared at him. Why did you tell everyone I was a disaster after Mother died? His expression changed in an instant. Just a moment. But I saw it. Fear. Your mother has been hiding a lot of secrets. He said. She's not the kind of woman you imagine. I clenched my fist. Don't insult her. Lucian took a step closer. Keep your voice down. Do you think I'm trying to hurt you? That's wrong. I'm protecting you. I froze. Protect me. He looked around. Make sure no one is nearby. Then he said in a low voice. You have no idea what your blood means. If those people knew your true identity, they wouldn't have let you live this long. My heart began to race. True identity. Lucian didn't answer. Just then, a voice interrupted him. She doesn't need you to tell her who she is. Kale walked into the hall. His expression was icy. Lucian immediately bowed his head in a gesture of respect. Your Majesty. Kale was standing next to me. I didn't watch Lucian. You should know. The price of deck. Even the royal family. Lucian looked down. I just want to make up for my past mistakes. Kale gave a cold laugh. Make up for it. You almost destroyed your own daughter with your own hands. Lucian didn't argue. This made me even more puzzled. Because it was the first time I noticed it. Things don't seem to be as simple as I thought. That evening, I ran into Seraphine in the palace corridor. Kale's sister. She isn't afraid of me like the other nobles are. She just looked at me quietly. Do you hate him? She suddenly asked. I know she was talking about Kale. Why do you ask? Seraphine was leaning against a stone pillar. Because of the way you look at him. Like someone who's been hurt. I remained silent. She continued, saying, did you know? My brother has never treated anyone this way. He doesn't let anyone get close to his heart. I asked softly, why? Seraphine looked into the distance. Because his mother died in a noble conspiracy. As a child, he witnessed the royal family being betrayed with his own eyes. Ever since then, he's believed that emotions weaken alphas. I didn't say anything. It turns out that even that cold-hearted man had once lost someone important to him. But Seraphine's next words left me stunned all over again. But then you showed up. He's changed. I frowned. He just needs a contract queen. Seraphine. No. Haven't you noticed? Last night. Everyone thought you were dangerous. Only he stands in front of you. My heart fluttered slightly. I thought of the figure of him standing in front of me. I remember him saying, who dares to lay a hand on her? But the very next second, I remembered his suspicion. He just doesn't believe me. Seraphine. Then he said in a low voice. Because he was afraid. What are you afraid of? She looked at me. I'm afraid you really are his soulmate. My breath caught in my throat. What? Seraphine was just about to answer. Suddenly, the alarm bells rang out at the palace. The entire castle was thrown into chaos in an instant. The soldiers rushed into the hall. Your Majesty, the northern border is under attack. The enemy is fighting under the banner of the Moonblood clan. Everyone's eyes turned to me in an instant. It was as if the answer had already appeared. It's as if this war exists solely because of me. Kale walked into the hall. His expression was gloomier than ever before. He looked at me. There is no doubt. No blame. There is only one kind of complex pain. They want to force me to hand you over. I looked at him. So what would you do? Kale clenched his fist. A long time. He said. If you hand him over, you can prevent the war. My heart sank little by little. Then he continued, saying, I wouldn't agree to that either. I froze. But the very next moment, a soldier covered in blood burst in. He fell to his knees. Your Majesty. "We've captured an enemy commander," he said. The soldier looked up at me. His face was deathly pale. He said, "Her Majesty the Queen isn't actually a daughter of the Vane family. She is the lost Moonblood princess." The hall was deathly quiet, but what the soldier said next shocked everyone. He said, "Her Majesty the Queen is the true heir to the previous werewolf king." At that moment, the entire palace was eerily quiet. I can even hear my own heartbeat. Here, one more time. It was as if it were reminding me, from this moment on, my life can never go back to the way it was. The Moonblood princess. Someone repeated it under their breath. How could she possibly be the Moonblood princess? She's clearly just an abandoned girl from the Vane family. The sounds came from all directions. Once they said I was lowly. Now, they've started to fear my lineage. But no matter how their gaze toward me may change, I am still the same Alara who once knelt in the family hall. The girl no one chose. I looked at Kale. I don't know what I'm hoping to see in him. Believe it, doubt, or is it fear? But I couldn't read his expression. His silver-gray eyes were fixed intently on me. It was as if he were trying to confirm an answer he didn't want to accept. "Bring that person to see me," Kale spoke up. His voice was cold. The soldier immediately obeyed the order and left. Tension led the entire chamber. Theron stood among the crowd, the look of shock on her face lasting only a moment. Then he gave a meaningful smile. That smile made me uneasy, because he isn't afraid like the others are. It was as if he had known all this along. Shortly thereafter, the captured enemy commander was brought into the hall. It was an elderly werewolf. His body was already covered in scars, but when he saw me, his cloudy eyes suddenly cleared. Finally, he murmured softly, "The Moon Shadow bloodline has finally returned." I took a step back. "Do you know me?" The old man looked at me. There was actually a hint of sadness in his eyes. "I knew your mother." My breath caught in my throat. "Mother. It's been a long time since anyone dared to mention that name in my presence. She is not a disaster," the old man said. "She is the last heir of the previous Moonblood royal family." The lobby instantly erupted with murmurs, but I acted as if I hadn't heard a thing, because all my attention was focused on what he was saying. "Your mother was once eligible to inherit the throne, but some people are afraid of her power." The old man looked around. Finally, his gaze settled on Theron. "So they staged a rebellion." The air suddenly froze. Theron's expression changed slightly. "Nonsense." The old man smiled. "You're still the same as you were back then." He always likes to hide behind others. My hand started to feel cold. If what he said is true, so, what about my past? It wasn't at all what my family told me. I am not a cursed child. I am someone whose identity has been stolen. "Why?" I asked the old man. The sound was so faint it was almost inaudible. "Why did my father hide all this?" The old man remained silent. Then he looked at me. "Because he was involved." My body froze. No way. I instinctively denied it. But Lucian's strange reactions kept popping into my mind. His fear. His concealment. And then there's what he said. "I'm protecting you. Your father didn't want to kill you back then." The old man said slowly. "He wants to save you. But he didn't have the courage to confront those who truly controlled the kingdom." It felt like I'd been hit hard in the chest. I always thought my father had abandoned me. But now, another possibility has presented itself to me. It's not that he doesn't love me, but I'm afraid. So afraid that I chose to remain silent. That night, Kale came to see me. I sat by the window without turning around. "You knew all along, didn't you?" I asked. The room was quiet. "A long time," he replied. "I know a little about it." I turned around. "What do you mean by part?" Kale was standing there. He took off his crown and placed it on the table. This was the first time I'd seen him without his king facade. Just a tired man. "I know the Moonblood royal family hasn't truly disappeared. I know, too, that someone is searching for the last descendant. But I didn't know that person was you." I looked at him. "But you know the prophecy." His eyes darkened for a moment. "Yes. Tell me." I walked up to him. What exactly is a prophecy? Kale was silent. His hands slowly clenched. An ancient prophecy says, when the Moonblood Princess returns, the Obsidian royal family will lose its crown. I smiled. So you've always been afraid of me? No. He immediately denied it. It was so fast that it left me speechless. Kale looked at me. His voice was deep. It's not you I'm afraid of. What's that? He didn't answer. Because he couldn't tell me. What he was afraid of was I became his mate. Because there is another saying in the Wolf clan's traditions. The daughter of the moon's blood meets the king of Obsidian. Not to bring destruction. It's all about bringing new life. But he didn't know which one they would be. The next day, an emergency session of the parliament was convened at the palace. The nobility was divided into two factions. One faction is demanding that my royal status be recognized. Another faction demanded that I be imprisoned immediately. Reason is, her existence poses a threat to the Alpha King. She is eligible to inherit the throne. She might become the new queen. These people aren't afraid of my power. Rather, I might change the power structure. Theron stood in the middle of the crowd. A seemingly reasonable suggestion was made. Your Majesty, since Her Majesty the Queen is of royal blood, why don't we just dissolve the contractual marriage? Let her regain her true identity. I frowned. This proposal came out of the blue. The next second, Theron continued. And then she will inherit the Moonblood throne. And Your Majesty will continue to rule the North. Everyone started discussing it. It sounds like you're giving me a choice. But I know, this isn't a choice. This is a split. If I became the Moonblood Queen, Kale will lose some of his power. The two royal families will once again vie for power. And that is exactly what some people want to see. Kale clearly realized this as well. His expression grew increasingly cold. You want the two thrones to go to war again? Theron smiled. I just respect bloodlines. Or is it at? He looked at me. Is Your Majesty afraid that Her Majesty the Queen has nobler blood than you? The hall fell silent in an instant. Everyone waited for Kale's answer. I looked at him, too. The next second, Kale stepped down from the throne. Come to me. And then, in front of all the nobles, he took my hand. At that moment, I felt the warmth of his palm. Powerful, resolute. Her lineage belongs to her, he said. Her choice is hers. Too. Everyone was stunned. But I can feel it. His fingers tightened slightly. It was as if it were telling me, don't be afraid. But just then, a guard suddenly burst into the hall. Your Majesty, something's happened in the royal dungeon. Kale turned around. What's going on? The guard's face turned pale. That elder of the Moonblood clan who's been imprisoned. He's dead. Everyone was startled. Before he died, he left one last message. The guard looked at me. His voice trembled. He said, the person who actually killed the previous Moonblood King wasn't Theron, but rather. He paused. The entire hall was silent. It's the Draven royal family. My body went cold in an instant. All eyes. Why both landed on Kale at the same time. And that was the first time I had my doubts. Perhaps the person who truly ruined my mother. It's always been right by my side. In that moment, I felt as if the whole world had fallen silent. All sounds faded away. That one sentence kept echoing in my mind. The person who killed the previous Moonblood King was a member of the Draven royal family. And Kale, he is the heir to the Draven royal family. I looked at him. For the first time, the man standing before me seemed so unfamiliar. The person who once stood in front of me on that snowy night. That Alpha King who told everyone. Who dares to lay a finger on her? That made me think that maybe I'd finally met someone who wouldn't abandon me. It turns out his family might be the ones who ruined everything for me. Is that true? My voice is very soft, but the whole hall could hear it. Kale didn't answer right away. His silence stung more than any answer could. My hand slowly slipped out of his palm. His fingers tightened slightly. It was as if it wanted to grab me, but in the end, he let go. Give me some time, he said. An explanation. I looked at him. Or should I just look for a lie that makes me believe you? Kale's eyes darkened. Elara, don't call me that. I took a step back. The first time. I'm afraid to get close to him. Because I don't know if the man I fell in love with is actually the one who will protect me. He is also an alpha king who has inherited the bloodline of hatred. That night, I didn't go back to my room. I went to the oldest tower in the most remote part of the palace. Hardly anyone goes there. Only the sound of the wind kept me company. I always thought that once I found out who I was, I would be happy, because I finally realized I'm not a failure. It's not a disaster. Not someone without value. But now, I now have royal blood. But I lost the only person who made me feel chosen. You should hate him. A voice came from the darkness. I spun around suddenly. Sarah. Fine was standing there. She wasn't wearing elaborate royal attire. She was simply draped in a plain, dark cloak. How did you know I was here? She walked over. Because my brother knows. I frowned. Did he send you to spy on me? No. She shook her head. He told me to come protect you. I couldn't help but laugh. Protect. You people in the Draven family all like to use that word. Seraphine. It was a long time before she said, do you really think my brother would kill your mother? I didn't answer. Because I don't know. All I know is that the facts are clear. Seraphine looked at me. So do you know who was most opposed to that war back then? I looked at her. She said softly, it's Kale's father. I froze. What do you mean? After the Moonblood King was assassinated back then, many people believed that the Draven royal family had seized the throne. But in reality, my father has been searching for the real killer all along. Until he died. I remained silent. Why didn't anyone tell me? Seraphine. Because dead people can't speak. She walked over. And everyone who is alive has their own secrets. Those words really struck a chord with me. Because I suddenly realized. From the very beginning, everyone is hiding the truth. My father, my mother, Kale, even the entire kingdom. The next day, Kale finally found me. He stood at the entrance to the old tower. He didn't bring any bodyguards. No crown. Just a man. Let's talk. I didn't refuse. Because I need an answer. My father didn't kill your mother. He said, let's get right to the point. I looked at him. Where's the evidence? Kale took out an ancient ring. It was a black ring with a wolf design. This is something my father left behind. He told me before he died. The one who truly betrayed the two royal families is hiding right among us. I looked at the ring. He didn't say anything. Why are you only tellin' me this now? Kale was silent. Because I'm afraid. This was the first time I'd ever heard him say he was afraid. I froze. What are you afraid of? He looked at me. I'm afraid you'll leave once you find out the truth. My heart gave a sharp jolt. But the very next second, I reminded myself. Don't believe it. Don't get hurt again. So you chose to keep it a secret. Yes. He admitted it. Because if I told you, I don't know if you'd see me as an enemy. I whispered. And what about now? Kale approached. His voice was deep. I'm even more afraid now. Why? Because I realized. He paused. It's as if I'm struggling with myself. I can't bear the thought of losing you. The air fell silent in an instant. My heart started racing. But I still haven't forgotten the hurt. Neck. I looked at him. What is our relationship? He froze. The contract. I nodded. Right. So don't forget. When the contract ends, I'll leave. After saying that, I turned and walked away. But I don't know. Right after I left, Kale stood there for a long time. His wolf spirit spiraled out of control for the first time. Because his instincts told him. His mate is drifting away from him. A few days later, a new conflict has erupted within the kingdom. The border nobles openly rebelled. They claim the return of the Moonblood Princess signifies the revival of the old dynasty. They asked me to leave Kale, build my own kingdom. On the surface, they seem to be supporting me. In fact, they want to use my lineage to start a war. And what's worse is, my father, Lucian, was suddenly found to have ties to the rebels. All the evidence points to him. When I saw those documents, I can't believe it. No. I shook my head. He wouldn't do that. Kale was standing behind me. Do you trust him? I turned around. At least more than I trust all the people who want to take advantage of me. Kale was silent. Then he said, if he really did betray the kingdom, what would you choose? I looked at him. If he's really guilty, I'll face it, Hedon. Kale looked at me. For the first time, a look of pride appeared in his eyes. It's not because of my lineage. It's not because of my strength. It's because of the choices I've made. At that moment, he finally understood. He didn't love the Moonblood Princess. Not the woman of the prophecy. But rather, the girl who once knelt in the snow and still chose to save him. But just as he was about to tell me the truth, an alarm suddenly went off in the palace. A soldier covered in blood burst into the hall. Your Majesty, the Vane domain has fallen. Lord Lucian Vane. The soldier paused. His face was deathly pale. Found dead in a rebel camp. My body froze. No way. The soldier lowered his head. There's one more letter. To Her Majesty the Queen. I took the blood-stained letter. Open. There's only one sentence in it. But T sent a chill through my whole body. Elara, if you're reading this letter, it means I'm already dead. Don't trust Kale Draven. Because the person who actually killed your mother. That's him. My hands began to tremble. And just then, Kale suddenly rushed over. Because he saw the signature at the end of the letter. That's not Lucian's name. But it was Sumio. And he thought had long since died. His father. The previous Alpha King. I stared at the letter. My fingers are cold. It felt as if the blood had stopped flowing at that very moment. The handwriting on the letter is my father's. But the final signature left me baffled. The previous Alpha King. Kale's father. Someone who has been dead for many years. That's impossible, Kale said in a low voice. For the first time, a noticeable tremor crept into his voice. I looked at him. Do you recognize this handwriting? He didn't answer. He simply reached out and took the letter. In that instant, I saw his expression change. The ever-calm Alpha King. The man who wouldn't back down even in the face of thousands of enemy soldiers. But at that moment, it was as if I had been struck by a painful memory. This is my father's mark, he said. I took a step back. So is what he said true? Kale looked up. What? The person who killed my mother. My voice grew colder and colder. It's you, the Draven royal family. Everyone in the hall held their breath. Kale looked at me. A long time. He said, no, I won't let you believe the lies of a dead man. Those words really tugged at my heartstrings. But you can't prove he's lying either. Kale was silent. Because he can't. At least not right now. Just then, Seraphine hurried into the hall. She looked very upset. Brother, the royal secret room has been opened. Kale spun around suddenly. What? Someone has entered the late king's private archives. Seraphine looked at me. It contains all the records of the destruction of the Moonblood royal family back then. My heart began to race. The truth. Maybe it's right inside. That night, Kale led me to the innermost part of the Palace. Only the Alpha Kings of past generations can enter there. When the stone door opened, a sense of antiquity washed over me. The walls are covered with the names of past rulers. And at the very depths, there was a black parchment scroll lying there. Kale walked over. But it didn't open. Why aren't you watching? I asked. He whispered. Because I'm afraid. I looked at him. Are you afraid of the truth, too? Kale smiled. That smile was bitter. If it turns out that my family destroyed your home, I've lost more than just the throne. And you, too. My heart fluttered slightly. But I didn't respond. Because I'm too scared. I'm afraid to trust again. Afraid of being abandoned again. Finally, Kale unfolded the parchment. Page 1. It chronicles the final night of the Moonblood royal family. Page 2. It chronicles a rebel. Lion. Page 3. A name appeared. Theron Vale. My breath caught in my throat. Him. Kale's gaze turned cold. He was one of the participants back then. Let's continue reading. The truth is gradually coming to light. The Moonblood King was not killed by the Draven royal family back then. Instead, He was secretly murdered by Theron before the peace alliance was signed. He fabricated evidence, framed the Draven royal family, then exploit the animosity between the two royal families, expand their power step by step. But there's still one more page. It completely shocked me. It was a record of lineage. It says, the Moonblood Princess is not the sole heir. She is bound by an ancient pact with the bloodline of the Obsidian royal family, the union of the two tribes. A new monarchy will emerge. I looked at Kale. He was looking at me. Too. We all understand. That prophecy did not say that I would destroy his dynasty. Rather, it means the union of the two royal houses will bring an end to the old era. Theron is afraid of this. Kale whispered. He's afraid we'll get together. My heart began to race. Combine. What does this term mean in the world of werewolves? It's not just about politics. It's also the fate of mates. I lowered my head. I couldn't bring myself to look at him. But Kale walked over. Elara. I looked up. His gaze was no longer as cold as it used to be. I have to tell you something. I waited. From the first time I saw you. His voice was deep. I knew you were my mate. My breath caught in my throat, although I had already guessed as much. But hearing it with my own ears still left me in awe. Then why? I asked. Why didn't you tell me? Kale closed his eyes. It was as if he were in pain. Because I don't know. Once you know I'm your mate, you'll choose me. You'd still choose to hate me. My eyes began to feel a little warm. This man. To own the entire kingdom. But I'm afraid of losing my freedom of choice. We didn't have time to explain further. Because right then, the palace bells suddenly rang out. This isn't just any ordinary alarm. But it was the bell of war. Seraphine burst in. Brother, Theron has staged a coup. He controls the legislature. The entire North City Gate has been overrun by the rebels. Kale instantly regained the Alpha King's dignity. But what he said next shocked me. You stay here, he said. I frowned. What? War is not your battlefield. I looked at him. Because I'm a woman. No. His voice was very soft. Because if I lose you, I'll lose my reason to fight. My heart skipped a beat. But I shook my head. No. Kale looked at me. Elara, I used to be protected by everyone. Treated as a secret that needs to be hidden. But I'm not. I clenched the Moonblood ring in my hand. I am the Moonblood Princess. If on my blood could change this kingdom, then I won't hide behind you. Kale looked at me. A long time. He finally reached out his hand. Place your royal ring in the palm of my hand. Well then, he said. Stand next to me. Not as the contract queen, but as my partner. At this moment, I finally understand. He has never been afraid of my power. What he was afraid of was, if fate forces us to become enemies, he won't be able to choose me. War broke out. Theron announced at Royal City Square. The Moonblood Princess will destroy the kingdom. Alpha King has been charmed by her. We must put an end to this mistake. But just when everyone thought I was going to become a disaster, I stood on the city wall, unleashing his full power for the first time. A silvery white wolf spirit enveloped the entire royal city. All werewolves feel the call of their ancient lineage. And those who once doubted me, RT kneeling, because they finally understood. I'm not here to take the crown. I'm here to protect it. However, just as Theron was about to run away. But he gave a strange smile. Do you think you've won? He looked at me. You've forgotten one thing. The true curse of the moon's blood. It hasn't awakened yet. The next second, he took out a black crystal. The wolf spirits throughout the royal city began to run amok. Kale's expression suddenly changed. Because that crystal came from a ace that was forbidden to be recorded. The Moonblood clan's most secret forbidden art. Theron smiled and said. Take a look. Your inevitable destruction. It's coming very soon. The moment the black crystal shattered, it was as if a crack had been torn open in the sky above the entire royal city. All the werewolves sensed an ancient and evil power. That wasn't just an ordinary wolf spirit. It as a curse that had been sealed away for hundreds of years. The soldiers on the city walls began to fall. Writhing in agony, their wolf spirits are suppressed, preventing them from maintaining their human form. Fear spread rapidly, and Theron stood in the middle of the crowd. He looked out at the chaotic royal city. A genuine smile finally appeared on her face. "Did you see that?" His voice echoed across the square. "This is the true power of Moonblood. It's not about protecting, but destruction." I was standing on the city wall. I could feel the blood in my body begin to burn. That power was too overwhelming. So powerful it scares me. The silvery white wolf SP. Irit roared behind me. But this time, it is no longer gentle. It was like a wild beast out of control. It wants to devour everything. "Elara." Kale rushed over to me. He grabbed my hand. "Look at me. I'm trying my best to stay awake. But I kept hearing whispers in my ear. Destroy them. Make everyone who has hurt you pay the price." It reminds me of the pain I've endured over the past 18 years. I thought about my family. Wise indifference. I remember how people used to call me a disaster. At that moment, I really want to unleash my full power. But Kale's voice snapped me back to reality. "Elara." His forehead pressed against mine. "A powerful alpha aura surrounds me. You're not the monster they make you out to be. You're not a curse. You are who you are." I almost started crying. Because this is the first time. Some people don't choose me because of my lineage. It's because I'm Elara. That girl who had once been abandoned. If my power really would destroy the kingdom. I whispered. "What would you do?" Kale didn't hesitate. "I'll share the burden with you." I looked at him. "Even if you lose the throne. Even if it means losing the entire kingdom." He said. "Because there's no world without you. It doesn't mean anything to me either." At that moment, I finally believe it. This man did not fall in love with the Moonblood princess. Not the fate foretold in the prophecy. But rather the Annie who said in the snow, "I can't just stand by and watch you die." The girl. I closed my eyes. For the first time, I didn't resist my own strength. Instead, choose to accept it. I heard the sound my mother left behind. "Don't be afraid of your blood." A truly powerful wolf spirit is never about destruction. Instead, I chose to protect. The next second, a silvery white light burst forth from my body. But this time, it didn't attack anyone. It covers the entire royal city. The werewolves, who had been corrupted by dark forces, regained consciousness one by one. The black crystal began to shatter. The smile faded from Theron's face. "No way." He stepped back. "How could the power of the moon blood possibly be controlled?" I looked at him. "Because you've never understood it. All you know how to do is exploit fear." But I didn't realize that true strength comes from protection. Theron wanted to escape. But Kale stood in his way. This person, whom he had been scheming against for years. I was finally standing in front of him. "You've lost the trust of 2 royal families." Kale's voice was icy. "Let countless people die. Today. You'll have to pay the price for this." Theron burst out laughing. "Do you think it'll all be over once you kill me? Do you really believe in the prophecy?" He looked at me. "There's one last line to the real prophecy." My heart skipped a beat. Theron said slowly, "The day the moon's blood and obsidian unite, the crown will choose a new owner. The old king is bound to fall. Everyone, be quiet." His gaze fell on Kale. "She'll end up replacing you. She'll become queen. And you. I'll lose everything." I looked at Kale. "This is the issue we've been avoiding all along. If the prophecy is true, if I were to hold a higher position than him in the future, what will he choose?" Kale was silent for a moment. "Then walk up to all the werewolves. Take off your own crown." At that moment, the entire royal city shook. "I am Kale Draven, heir to the Obsidian royal family. I admit it today. Elara Vane, the Moonblood princess, to possess royal authority equal to mine." All the nobles were stunned. "Your Majesty." Some people want to stop it. Kale, however, raised his hand. "A true king should not fear another king." He looked at me. "If fate chooses her, I'll stand by her side, not standing above her." My eyes started to burn. Because of this moment, I finally understand. A truly powerful alpha. It's not about having the power to con troll everything. Rather, it is having the courage to let go of control. 1 year later, the Kingdom of the North held a grand coronation ceremony. But this time, not a king. Rather, they were two corollers. I was wearing the moon-silver royal robe. Stand next to Kale. The nobles who once mocked me have bowed their heads before me. The family that once abandoned me has asked for my forgiveness. But I chose not to seek revenge. Because I'm no longer that girl who needs to prove her worth. I know my own worth. It's not because of my blood. It's not because of who I am. It's because of the kind of person I choose to be. After the ceremony, Kale took me to the palace gardens. The place is full of moonflower plants. He looked at me. Do you remember? The first time we met. I smiled. I remember. You're lying in the snow. I almost died. Kale chuckled softly. Then a girl who said she was worthless saved me. I lowered my head. That girl doesn't know who she is. Kale took my hand. But she saved my life. It saved my soul. 2. The moonlight fell upon us. My wolf spirit intertwined with his obsidian wolf spirit. At that moment, I finally understand. Fate is not a shackle that binds us. Instead, it gave us the chance to meet. I used to think, until the Alpha King found me, I'm just a worthless person. But I didn't find out until later. What he found was not a girl who had lost everything, but rather, a king who never truly lost himself. And this is what I found. Nor is he a cold-hearted Alpha King, but rather, a man willing to give up his entire crown for love. Our contract marriage has ended, because we no longer need contracts. Fate has long since written the answer. We are each other's one and only mate. They are also the ones who chose each other.